One of the most difficult type of narcissist to deal with is the Christian narcissist. And the main reason why they are the most difficult to deal with is because they will often use scripture to control and to manipulate people. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of scripture that a Christian narcissist may use to try to manipulate you. Alright, so example number 1 is the Christian narcissist parent. They will often use that scripture that talks about children obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother. So they will use this scripture as an attempt to control their children, and a lot of the times they're using it to justify their behavior and to allow them to continue treating their children in some negative and harmful, abusive ways without their children having anything to say about it. But what they're really doing is they're misusing that scripture to control and to guilt trip their children. What you should think about as well is the fact that further down in that scripture it says that fathers are not supposed to provoke their children to wrath. So when you look at it, this parent, really what they're doing, this narcissistic parent, what they're doing is they are abusing you, they are guilt tripping you, some of them emotionally, physically, mental abuse. That is provocation, and in them provoking you, they are using the first part of the scripture to give them the right to continue to provoke you without you saying anything or without you protecting yourself in any way. Now, when the scripture says honor your parents, it does not give you a license just because they are provoking you or abusing you. That does not give you a license to lash out and cuss them off and say all different type of nasty things about them. That is you not honoring them. But you can protect yourself. You can set healthy boundaries with them in love, in kindness and respect, without going over into that negative side of things where you're having outbursts of anger and a cuss and say certain things we're not supposed to say. Example number 2 is the Christian narcissistic leader. So they now love to use scriptures from Paul or from Peter that talk about submitting to your leaders. They use these scriptures to control. And as I said earlier, with the case of the parents, if you have a narcissistic Christian leader and they are abusing you spiritually, emotionally, verbally a lot of the times, some of these narcissistic Christian leaders, they abuse their members or their followers verbally by cussing them out or using their position as a Christian leader to excuse verbal abuse in the sense of correction, giving correction. Now, Jesus calls for these Christian leaders to be shepherds, and shepherds are supposed to care for the sheep. Shepherds are supposed to take care of the sheep. If these Christian leaders are not taking care of you, if these Christian leaders are abusing you, then that shows that they are not the true shepherd that God has put over you. And like what Jesus says in John chapter 10, they are not true shepherds, they are not the good shepherd, and they are not reflecting the character of the good shepherd. They are hirelings. The word that Jesus used in that scripture in John chapter 10 is hireling, meaning they're not really business about the sheep. Them just come to get them days pay and them gone. Them just come for looks and for looks and for position and for what looks good in front of the people, but they don't have true care and true compassion for the sheep. So therefore they are the wrong leaders. And then example number 3 is the Christian narcissistic friend. Say you have a friend who is a narcissist, and maybe and them have a fallout and disagreement, stop talk for a while, and what they will often do is narcissistic people are allergic to accountability. So what they will often do is they will try to reintegrate themselves into your life, make some time pass, after the disagreement, make some time pass, and then they will try to reintegrate themselves in your life without acknowledging the wrong that they have done, without taking accountability for the damage that they cause and how they hurt you. And if you now want to hold them accountable for what they did, what they would do is they will use scriptures about forgiveness and tell you that they need to forgive, and Jesus says you're supposed to forgive, using that as a means of gaining access without taking accountability for their actions. But what you need to learn is that forgiveness does not mean access. You can forgive a person without giving them access to continue to hurt you. In fact, if you see that a person has refused to change, if you know that a person is manipulative, is controlling, you know that a person is abusive, whether emotionally or verbally, and you decide to still give them access to you in the name of forgiveness, that's not forgiveness, that's just you being unwise and you allowing the devil to use these people to continue to hurt you, to continue to do harm to you. So the Christian narcissist often gets away with using scripture to guilt trip, to manipulate, and to control people. And a lot of the times it's because we don't even study the scriptures and know the scriptures for ourselves, and therefore these people get away with these abusive behaviors. So it first starts with knowledge. That's why the scripture says, through knowledge the just shall be delivered. And if you had the knowledge of what these scriptures truly meant, then you wouldn't be controlled and manipulated by these narcissistic individuals. You're fearfully and you're wonderfully made. God bless you.